This is an updated video on a Wehrle 5-horn trumpeter clock from 1866. I'm going to show in this video the pictures of the original clock that came out of the museum in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's actually the John Harris mansion. Here's pictures from up on the third floor of the clock that was donated to the museum in 1932. I'll go through some of the pictures here. These are pictures of the clock, all the pieces that were loose. The top of the clock, there's the base. What was odd during the time of this clock's existence, somebody put the Winchester assembly into the bottom of the case and had wires running up, which I can't understand how in a million years it could have worked, because you needed the levers to come down to open up the valves, so it made no sense. This was the movement that was received. Actually, during the shipping process, the arbor for the hour hand and minute hand got snapped off. And one of my fears, when the pictures were sent to me by one of the curators in the museum, I seen that the main spring barrel was missing. Now that's a major, obviously, issue. You can see this should have had a whole assembly inside with the gears to drive the movement. The clock did run, which was great news. The movement on the time side. What was also unique about this clock is that it had appears to be a Civil War figure carrying a rifle. These are some of the videos of the clock as it was restored. Here's one here, the clock movement playing. As you can hear, it's just a simple charge. This is the luck of the draw, as they say. You can find a clock that plays a tune, and then you find a clock that plays a charge. You never know until you get the clock all put back together and get it restored. This is the whole replacement spring barrel, which includes a spring that I found online, a new whole stock spring that was used in an early Edison phonograph. Is the exact same spring sized as needed for inside the spring barrel. Here's the picture of the movement restored, the top that was damaged, all the antlers back on the deer head, the screaming eagle that was restored. Here's all the parts that came back out being restored and repaired. There was the original movement, what it looked like when I first received it. You can see it's got a couple hundred years of crud on it. There it is right there. This is inside the wind chest, the 5 reeds. I was lucky enough to have at least the reeds were in great shape. Had to do some tweaking. I recovered all the leather on the valves. There's the top of the wind chest. In there, you can see paperwork from 1866 when this thing was assembled. That's the original leather bellows, the little figure. There was the case, it was missing the rifle. This is after I cleaned it up. The case was pitch black. There, when I made a duplicate template of the rifle, which was sent out and was recarved. That's the movement in the box as it was in the museum. Here's the bellows playing. You can see they're alternating as they should. Pump organ. How to manufacture all new horns, new bronze springs. Here's the clock itself. You can scan. As people collect and understand Black Forest clocks, to find a shelf clock is very rare. I had these hands and numbers made up in Germany, sent to a friend of mine, Hubert Warstone, who runs the Eisenbach Fair each year. Was able to get them for me. This is the back of the clock with the movement plane. Here's a little bead that comes off to the side that's used if you just want to set the clock off on its own. So that's the view of the clock in the final restoration. Hope you enjoyed it. This review to show you how it came and what a basket case it was. Like I said, it was donated to the museum in 1932. I have a history going back to almost the original owner, several years. This clock was said to be owned by none other than Ulysses S. Grant. The person who owned it in Pennsylvania was a statesman who worked for the government. So how much of that story comes to truth, but the fellow was working at the time of the presidency of Ulysses S. Grant. The clock has an American motif, as you've seen, and does have a Civil War figure in it, which is pretty crazy. I'm just impressed on the clock itself. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos, you can go through my YouTube channel, Gary H54, or if you're interested in collecting Black Forest clocks, come join our forum on my website, blackforestclockcollectors.com. Where you can meet up with other clock collectors from all around the world. Well, stay well. See you soon. Come back and visit for some more updated videos.